Group stalking by helicopter. And the people of the state come into relevant positioning by coming and paying the rent. That's the demon you already know, Lorraine Pena. Engineer light moving across an apartment building is never naturally occurring when you're driving a car, nor is the sun going to be over a property for the duration of the day, rising and setting in alignment to me, or breaking that demonic system up because you're being documented and engaging what is setting it in alignment to me, keeping it over my head for the second half of the day. That's amplification at a great volume. That's being heard inside of my office. That's demonic. They were flying over my apartment, rumbling the bathroom while it was physically nude. That's a sex offense by the demons that want to engage in predatory conduct with the intent to sexually offend. This is the entity. The people of the state are engaging in that sex offense in concert with them, flying directly over my apartment and doing so now at this distance, amplifying the sound of helicopter. It's impossible to hear helicopter inside of my office as clearly as the entity is engaging what is amplification, coinciding with what is presence via Lorraine Pena. This is the property, the people of the state that are engaged in 24-hour criminal assistance, facilitation of that ongoing system of surveillance, which is demonic. These are the people of the state that speaker companies, which is a third party, are referencing when they're asking about it, that which they are already aware of. This is why they're mentioning things such as my podcast, which I just started publishing onto the internet. That's not a coincidence. There are also no coincidences when the state is stalking, and the state has been stalking in helicopter for years. This is P.O.C. All right, and that's demonic pacing. They're engaging in stalking in more than one helicopter. So the entity is engaged in ongoing amplification. None of this is going to be heard in my apartment. You cannot hear a helicopter inside of my office while they're flying in a circle. Remember when Maria Solis Alvarez was group stalking relevant position, they're engaged in ongoing pacing around, which is what they're doing 24/7. They like to make themselves heard in order to engage in the elements of monitoring and communicate a threat. They also do so while they hear me make salient points about their criminal system, such as the people of the state, which represent the government, and also, let me be clear, any employer in California has no right to infringe upon your freedom of speech rights. So that's everything that they're doing. And what did the entity do at the same time? Flew directly over my head while the light source was right here. Okay, that's the same entity that's group stalking and then engaging in what is an act of what is criminal defamation. And I'm referencing Heather Till, who's going to federal prison, speaker companies that's going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted, and the personnel of speaker companies, which is a third-party company, is engaged in state surveillance. And that ongoing desperate act to obstruct justice, you go to federal prison even longer for. So I just want to make sure I document that. Coming to a relevant position to pay the rent while the entity is amplifying helicopter activity is P.O.C. in the specific environment. It is currently, again, 8:41 a.m. This is workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence by an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And that is underway in the workplace, okay? It is also, let me document while I'm on video right now, Danielle Levitt engaging in what is audible activity. She's engaged in federal stalking, using the phone as a means of audible activity, also engaged in what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet. That's the entity that is monitoring, engaged in group stalking, federal stalking in concert with that same entity. That the people of the state are the entity. The entity is using the people of the state. And they're doing so pursuant to the same exact demonic behavioral pattern in the demonic environment, which is the unnatural environment, because at no time in the day is the sun ever directly over Alvarado Gardens. Okay. And not only that, I've shown the light that covers the property, the light that's inside of my office, inside of my apartment, that's not even sunlight. And the entity is indeed engaged in heavy duty surveillance and stalking by the LAPD, which represents the state of California, which is in conformity to the body of evidence that is the P.O.C. And the entity that is fearful and knowledgeable about that criminal system that is being documented for purposes of prosecuting every single last person. The entity engages in what is harassment, criminal defamation, seeking to obstruct justice. And that's what speaker companies is documented engaging in. And speaker companies is still engaging in that criminal conduct. That sort of audacity is going to land the entire corporate office, by the way, in federal prison. It is, again, 8:42 a.m. This is P.O.C.